Hey everyone. So here's the problem. Hiring staff, you have to hustle so hard today as if it's just like trying to get a new sale. You see, I'm sure many of you out there have experienced very similar to everyone that we talk to. You get a resume, you pick up the phone to call them, and they're already off the market. Or maybe you have a phone call interview with them and they don't show up. Or maybe you even hired them and they don't show up and they took some other gig for some other reason. Maybe it's more money, maybe it's closer to home, maybe it's more remote work, right? And so it really is a big problem. It's caused law firms that we know around the country actually to either close in some cases, and if not close, definitely turn away new business. And the funny thing is they're busier now in some areas of law than ever before. So it's a really, really bad problem to have, to not be able to get the talent that we need. And seriously, it's only getting worse. And so fortunately, we got a few tips today to help you get better results in your hiring process. But first, this is No Law Firm Left Behind, and I'm Jim Gass. And today we've got Vinny and Dave. Guys, how you doing?
Good as always.
Yep.
Doing great, thanks.
And the three of us are here regularly every week to help your law firm be more competitive, keep your staffs and your attorneys more productive, and to get clients calling. And so this falls right in line with what we're talking about, because it's a serious competitive thing. Whether you look at it from a competitive perspective in trying to get new clients, or competitive to attract new talent, it's competitiveness. So Vinny and Dave, quick question. Are you guys geared up for this one?
Let's do it.
You know, in our recent experience for us, I know we're not a law firm, right? But we've had some recent tough experience too.
It's always been challenging to find quality candidates that fit your culture, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes when somebody comes across your desk and you see a certain resume and go, this person has real potential, you're not the only company out there that's noticed that.
Yeah.
And so we have certainly had some challenges of, we find that great candidate, and by the time we reach out or by the time we're ready to make the offer, they're gone.
Sorry, it's a serious topic, Dave. I'm smiling and kind of giggling because I've got a puppy that's pinned up. Can you guys hear it? It sounds like somebody getting killed in a dungeon somewhere.
Luckily, I can't hear it,
Thank
so
God.
Hopefully it's not too bad.
Sorry, I promise you, no puppies are being tortured in the making of this live stream.
That is a plus.
They're just running.
Vinny, you want to talk about
yeah.
They're not at the door. That's way back in the pen in the other room. Hey, Vinny, you want to talk about what some of the experience that we've had, or maybe some you've seen for some law firms?
I definitely.
Oh, you're muted, Vinny. There you go.
No, I'm not.
We got
Can
you.
hear me? All right.
Hmm?
All right. Definitely finding the right person is always a challenge. Fishing through lots and lots and lots of resumes, making sure that, that like Dave said, the culture, right? Someone that fits the culture. I think, the from our perspective, the technical ability to me is a lower priority than the culture fit. And the character of the person. So I mean, finding the challenge is always finding the right person, right? That's going to, and it's always hit or miss. It is somewhat of a sales thing. It is somewhat of always a gamble, right? There's always a lot of unknowns, and you win some and you lose some in the hiring process.
And I think what we're talking about today, Jim, is not so much how do you identify that ideal candidate. It's more, once you have somebody that you're interested in, how do we make sure that we don't lose them to a competitor or just another opportunity?
Yeah. There, and Vinny, I send you so many resumes, and I apologize for it, but it's my mentor, Robin Robbins. She always says, always be hiring. Always be hiring. And although that's not in the list of the 3 tips today, that's a bonus tip right now. If you can run an Indeed ad or a ZipRecruiter ad or LinkedIn posting all the time, always be hiring, because you never know when that gem may come in, and that's GEM, gem. You just never know, right? And you might not have a position for them right now, but that day is going to come when you may have something. You're going to pull that out. Who was that ace that I really wanted? I'm going to call him or her, and I'm going to talk to them and see if that's something that they may be interested in changing jobs, or even if they're still available. So that's a little bonus tip right there. Always be hiring. Vinny, is there nothing worse than going through piles and piles of resumes, emails and emails of resumes that I send you?
I hate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, that says it all, right? I hate it. It's just such a long process in finding. Again, we're trying to find somebody first just based on a write-up that they did themselves.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Anybody can put anything on paper. Well, the thing about it is, and I'm always, when I send Vinny a resume, I'm like, call this one. I'm pushy, right? I want to be pushy, and it goes back to, you need to hustle for hires like you would hustle for sales, right? And if you're not hustling for sales, I can't teach you anything about this right now. For new clients, that is. What do you call it? If you call it sales, you call it clients, it doesn't matter to me. You've got to earn a client. So if you got somebody that's calling you up and wanting to hire you, you need to hustle to get them. Well, if you've got a resume that was sent to you, that's a hot prospect. That's a hot talent right there. The iron is hot on that one. You couldn't get hotter, right? When somebody applies for a job, they're clicking through dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs on ZipRecruiter, Indeed, or wherever at, right, guys? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not thinking about you per se. They're thinking about a position. They're looking at your ad. They're looking at how well it's put together. Subconsciously, they're looking at how much the pay is. If you put your pay range on there, you're much more likely to get a response, and somebody sends something to you. Put your logo on there, culture information on there. It is a marketing effort to do these job postings, wouldn't you guys say? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you have to put keywords actually in these posts now for you to get found.
Yeah.
Because all these job boards have algorithms.
And people are, in our case, right? People are looking for specific technologies that they want to get into, or that they like, that they want to support. In a law firm, right? They're gonna want to know what law practice you're in. They are shopping for the ideal situation, right? Mm-hmm. And so that sales pitch that you put out there, to me, a job posting is very important on how it's worded, how it attracts people, because that's really what's gonna bring somebody to apply at first. Because again, just like we're looking at a piece of paper to first make that first determination, they're also looking at that piece of paper.
That's right.
Or it's not a paper anymore. They're looking at that ad, right? That posting somewhere, and that's how they're making their first determination as well. That first determination could be, hey, I'm going to look you up on, those reputation sites for the company. Some folks would do that.
Glassdoor. Look at your Google. They're going to look at your Google. Your Google My Business. How many ratings do they have? How many comments do they have from people? Are they good? Are they bad? Yeah.
Yep.
The tables have turned. It's not necessarily. I'm not so sure that it's a 100% employees market, candidates market, but it's definitely not like it used to be a hirer's market. It's far from that. Would you guys confirm?
I think it depends on what you're looking for.
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah.
I think that there's certainly areas of the workspace that you don't have a lot of high profile employees out there looking for stuff. And so they can demand. I mean, it's all about supply and demand when it comes to that.
If you're looking for a technology IP paralegal, right? And that's just a kind of an outlier, right? Somebody's got that experience. Those people are going to be able to demand high salaries, right? But if you're looking for somebody like Dave, little background on Dave. Dave teaches at the University of Cincinnati Claremont College and teaches part of some classes in the paralegal studies program.
Yep.
So you have a number of people that you see at different levels of their career, starting out, already experienced, trying to get a degree, looking to change jobs, but generally speaking, they're the ones that when they put their resume out there now, they're the ones that are a little bit more in control. Because
for right now, within the paralegal community in particular, finding somebody who is quality is still can be very challenging. They are in high demand.
Yeah.
And whenever you have a certain position that's in high demand, you have to hustle to get the best candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's not on them anymore.
And in talking, I talk to law firms every week. In talking to them, they are struggling to find candidates, the right candidates.
That's the key, the right candidate.
Yeah, the right candidate, right? Attorneys as well. It's struggling to find the right attorneys to come join their firm, right? IT wise, it's still an employee's market. It's still
Don't say that
difficult. It's still difficult to find the right candidate for the need that you have from an IT perspective, right?
Yeah, and it's
high demand. They're all.
And I've talked with people across lots and lots of different industries, and that's a common refrain: finding that employee, finding that candidate who has got that work ethic, that has that culture, that has that knowledge base, that has it. This can go across any particular vertical. To find that right person has a lot of negotiation strength. And so I think, Jim, where I think you're correct is it's always an employee's market if you're one of those gems, one of those people that have that work ethic. Okay. Yeah. It's oftentimes the same 90% of folks that aren't being hustled for. But if somebody caught your eye as an employer, you can bet your bottom dollar that somebody else caught somebody else's eye too.
You know what I say to that?
That's why these tips are so important.
That's so true. That is so true. The good talent, everybody wants them.
Yeah,
everybody wants them.
You're not going to go out and find a dozen. You're not going to go out and find a dozen resumes right now for your position and say, "Oh, all these people are perfect." No, you're going to go through, and you're going to find out of the 100 that you go through, 3, 4 that really just look promising. And I guarantee you that those same 3 or 4 are looking promising to the business right down the street too.
Yep, you got it. And this is
so once they get your crosshairs, this is when we got to get to these tips. How do you, Jim, when you find someone you really want, what should you be doing?
Thanks, Dave, Thanks for setting me up. So, you know what? On that tip, hustle for hires like you do for sales. On that one right there, don't wait for days to call. If somebody applies, man, they're looking to hear back from you yesterday because you know what? Somebody else is hitting them up today. So they hit send and somebody just called them. That's what you have to assume, right? Email right away. Email, listen, there's no rules right now, in my opinion, for the gems, okay? Email, call. If you got a text number and you want that you better text them because somebody else will do it if you won't, right? Now, you don't got to be a pest. Okay. But you know what? Multiple times because they're getting it from every angle from people. So that's on that tip, right? The second tip, and it sounds similar, but call, email, and text your candidates to confirm and remind them on their calls that you're supposed to have with them, the virtual interviews and meetings you're supposed to have with them, the in-persons, and any other event, right? And so it'll improve results. You're not a nag, okay? It's very easy to do, very easy to set up, especially if you got Microsoft 365. Little technology twist there, but probably what I like the best. So not, this isn't the one. It'll improve results, right? No question. But the thing that I like the best about it, man, I think it makes you look good. You are on the game. You are showing that they're important to you. Mm-hmm. And that's what everybody wants to feel, right? Somebody will take a job for less money if they feel they're important to you.
Let me ask you a question about this, Jim. Because you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned reaching out. Doesn't really matter the means, all right? Whether it be via email, whether it be via phone, whether it be via text. And then you mentioned systems like, Dynamics, CRM systems, etc. What's your take on the personalization level that this needs to say? Somebody applies for a job, send something in. Are they getting a canned automated response from a sales system? Or are they getting a real person that's reaching out to them?
You get what you give. You get what you give, right? The more time you take, the better results you're going to get. But if it's an automated system, that's fully automated and with no personalization at all, I'm sorry. I don't think you're going to get results with something that's automated. Now, if you find that gem, so you need to be very personal.
So let me jump in real quick. I think some of the things can be automated. Like, hey, just a reminder, we have a call today, right? But I think the initial responses are personalized, directed at that person with details about them and that type of thing, right? But hey, just a reminder, we have a call today at 3. That can be automated because that's all it needs to say at that.
Got it.
I would also go so far. People expect that, right? I mean, they expect automation. We all expect it. That's today. But I wouldn't hide it. I'd say, hey, listen, I'm going to set it up so that you get some reminders and stuff like that. There are going to be some automated things. It might be a little impersonal, just sorry, but this is our system so that, we can help make sure that we move down the process well together. I wouldn't hide that from somebody. But that initial touch, man, if you could send them freaking flowers and balloons, you should, if they're a gem, Send them a cake.
I didn't get flowers or balloons or cake.
What's that?
I said I didn't get flowers or maybe not.
So yeah, you know what? And good questions on that one. It will make you look good. Culture's everything, and if you care about your people, then you need to care about somebody that you're trying to hire. And so, why would you put any less effort into it than you would sitting down and hand holding, a loved one, right? Or that has not a loved one, but somebody that's a loved one that's lost somebody and is going through an estate planning or something like that. The loved one being not one of yours, right? Why would you do anything different, right? And people are important to you. You should hold them important in everything that you do across the spectrum, right?
Your employees are more valuable than your customers, and think about how much effort people put into being personable with a sales prospect.
And you
really should not be doing anything less.
No.
And in fact, I believe quite a bit more when you're talking about employees and prospects, employee prospects. You should be going threefold, tenfold on them over what you do for a sales prospect. In my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I mean, you're trying. Generally speaking, you want less employees than you do clients, right? I mean, that's how you make money. The idea is have the lowest amount of staff. So if you're going to have the lowest amount of staff, then you need to put probably the most amount of time into making them, attracting them, and keeping them, right? I mentioned a technology choice. If you have Microsoft bookings, we did a video. I'll put the link in the comments of this video on all the platforms where you can set up Microsoft bookings to set appointments. All you got to do is set it up. Matter of fact, why don't we just do one of those coming up? I'll do one of those on the side for everyone. Very specific to hiring, right? And so you can set it up. They don't have to use it. You're the one that fills it out for them. You've got their information. You fill it out. Once you have that phone call, hey, I'm going to set you up in our system so that you get reminders for the things. Okay, no problem. Thanks. Boom. And then somebody sets it up for them. Right.
Well, I mean, I can see you using it also to set up the initial phone call to say, hey, click on this link and pick a time that works best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I do that. I do that often in sales, and I would do that for hiring too. It's great because people find something without going through a lot of rigmarole, find what works for them. The last one I got, guys, moving on, bribe them. And I know it sounds bad. I make a joke of it to kind of get the shock value. Bribe them with cheap logoed stuff, trinkets. I suggest T-shirts, water bottles, things that people like that'll hang around for a while, Tervises and so on and so forth. And really, why do you do that? Before you hire them, if you want to hire them, don't think to yourself somebody else isn't. You have to assume what other people could possibly be doing. People love T-shirts. Give me a T-shirt, man. It'll stick around for a long time in my drawer, even if I don't wear it all the time, right? I made a joke. I've got probably 50 T-shirts and I probably wear 8 of them. But, and my wife said, well, you need to get rid of some of the other ones. No way. That ain't going to happen. T-shirts just don't leave. Cups, I don't want to talk about how many cups I have in our pantry from some gift that some vendor gave me, right? And so the key to this, though, is know how much you can afford, right? These people are going to make you money. So you need to, but in sales and in marketing, you should know how much you can afford for a prospect, right? You should have a number that you should be able to calculate out and say, I can afford to spend this much money and send these gifts to my prospects, right? It's no different than hiring somebody. As a matter of fact, they're going to make you money, right? They're going to bring in the money. So the value of them should be up. Guys, what do you think about bribing them with trinkets and gifts? T-shirts.
So I think it has to be done the right way.
Yeah.
Okay. It to me, I have had many instances when I was younger and was interviewing with folks and would have things like that. Like when I would go at an interview process, when we did things in person, and you would get that kind of stuff. And it's almost like, not only does it show that you've got something, there's almost like that quid pro quo.
There's an unspoken thing there. Yeah,
there is. And there's a lot that's been written about, why we give people things a lot of times. But there's also, a branding aspect there.
Mm-hmm.
The more often you're in someone's mind in general, the more likely you are to have a favorable opinion of them. Mm-hmm. And that would sway someone to potentially decide to come work for you. So it's a lot of the same techniques and strategies that are used in marketing for your customers.
Exactly.
You're doing the same thing for people, your human resources, as much as I don't really like that phrase, but you know what I mean.
I get it. I would say that one of the coolest things you could possibly do in sales, if I have a prospect that I'm going to have an important meeting with, right? Well, I have a box that's actually logoed with pictures on it, words about our culture and our differentiators, right, on it, that I have that, they get a company pen in the box. They get sales materials about us and what we've done with other customers. Turn it around and do the same thing for someone you're going to interview. Now, there's a way to do this electronically as well, but you should, send them a pen, right? Send them some slicks on some of the awards that your firm, the AmLaw 100 or whatever, the best lawyers, in the United States, and even some pictures, some papers with pictures of, or electronic videos of your staff that are happy working here already. So that when you interview them, when you sit down for the interview, they're already sold on your firm or company. It's almost a matter of just getting to know them for you and then negotiating the right deal, right? And then, of course, let all of your staff interview them too. So Yeah, I think it's a great technique. A couple of extra bonuses in there. I think we hit the 3 for sure, guys. But yeah, it is not right now. I would not take hiring for granted. I'd almost try to put a smile on your face when you're going through the resumes because it's a daunting task. It's hard now more than ever. We got to be more outside of the box thinking than ever before. And hopefully these tips help. Guys, do you think some of these are gems? Gems.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think that these are really important, and I think that the key thing to take away is not so much not that the tips themselves aren't valuable, because they are, but what I would love for everyone to take away from this is the idea that you have to fight. You use the word hustle.
Yeah,
you have to hustle to get good talent these days.
Yeah,
because it's a hot commodity,
and it'll pay off.
It will pay off.
It'll pay off for years.
It'll pay off big time.
Look at Vinny.
But don't just think you can slap out a job description and get somebody awesome to just waltz through your door. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. And then you find the awesome ones like you guys. So, well, listen, thanks for joining us in No Law Firm Left Behind. Next week, Vinny, you want to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit on what we're going to do through the month of May? I know you're not ready for it, but do you think you can kind of deliver something?
Sure. So just real quick, not to get too much into it, but a lot of folks have been talking about how do I move to the cloud? What is required to take my technology and move it completely to the cloud so that I can work from anywhere? And we've talked about working from anywhere as a broader topic, right? We've talked about some of the technologies that it would take to work, but we want to take an overview of like, what are the things that you need to consider when you move to the cloud, right? What are the considerations? And then we're going to do a deeper dive on some of those throughout the month of May.
Yeah, we're gonna hit up like maybe voice over IP as a topic.
Mm-hmm.
The considerations for that. We're gonna hit up documents, applications. I mean, we're gonna dive into each one of these through the month of May. You don't want to miss May. And so, thanks for that, Vinny. I think that's great. Hey, if you're not a member of the No Law Firm Left Behind group on LinkedIn, there is the wonderfully beautiful URL that I just so adore. That LinkedIn has given us. Don't try to write it down right now. Take a snapshot with your phone. Plus, you catch a video afterwards, or do a search on No Law Firm Left Behind for No Law Firm Left Behind. Actually, I'm finding us on Google now, guys. So you can find our podcast on Google. You can actually find the LinkedIn group on Google and a whole bunch more. So, but if you want to be a member of the group on LinkedIn, just go search on LinkedIn No Law Firm Left Behind. Guys,
can you
thanks
put
a
the
lot.
link tree up?
Yeah. I put the link. I'll put the Linktree link to all the podcasts in the comments, so everybody can find their own podcast platform later on. So, guys, great topic. Thanks for the help today, everyone. Thanks for attending, and we'll see you next week, next Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern.
Hey, thanks.
Thanks.